to that. So to me, Shedeur Sanders should be given a chance at some point to try to be the future. And if he is, great. If not,
give the rookie quarterbacks a chance. They got to earn it.
Sanders connected on a beautiful 20-yard in route. But the thing is going to be, what's the name attached to that? You could probably give them a little bit more time than you would other teams in regards of getting their starting quarterback ready. It didn't seem, like they were starting to progress Shedeur Sanders that much yet. The system and the team around him didn't have the appropriate plan in place.
What are some signs in camp that things are going well? What are the kind of things that you'll hear when a rookie is starting to do things to move himself up the depth chart? And I'm specifically with Sanders.
Is it, wide receiver 12 and 13 that everybody is scrambling to find the name at the end of the program? Dillon Gabriel's kind of had I don't want to say the upper hand, but maybe the earlier opportunities.
When we saw your guys' reaction in the war room, it just didn't look necessarily exuberant.
I think we're probably just tired from the weekend.
Those clips, it's not timed up to exactly the right
when
time,
we're actually
so I wouldn't. Don't read too much into that.
They're trying to handle Shedeur like he truly is a guy they drafted in the 5th round.
It's almost like he didn't get the memo that he's supposed to be humble and patient and wait his turn. Here's where things get really...
Yeah, I don't disagree with that because, if you take the name Shedeur Sanders out of the mix...
You need to show that you're a professional and you're developing and you earn the chance.
There is zero evidence that Shedeur Sanders is not working every day.
But it looks like he's getting a little more velocity on these footballs, moving around.
How we see it when it actually gets to preseason games, because you want to see it string together.
Shedeur turns heads with must-see viral training video.
The Browns just handed Shedeur Sanders first-team reps, and now the entire organization is in complete meltdown mode. Kenny Pickett is side-eyeing the sideline like it betrayed him. Coaches are scrambling to explain why their 5th-round afterthought is embarrassing million-dollar investments, and somewhere in that facility, clipboards are getting thrown in pure panic. But here's what's really wild. This isn't just about one practice session. What I'm about to show you reveals a quarterback controversy so explosive that it's making veterans question everything they thought they knew about the NFL hierarchy. Shedeur Sanders is completing 77% of his passes, while the other Browns quarterbacks are struggling at 58%. Yet he's still not getting first-team reps. 9 touchdowns on 53 attempts versus Dillon Gabriel's 8 touchdowns on 83 attempts, and Cleveland is pretending math doesn't exist. The Browns accidentally drafted their best quarterback in the 5th round, and now they're too embarrassed to admit it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this situation is about to explode in ways that could reshape the entire franchise, and why what happened in those first-team reps has coaches questioning everything they thought they knew about evaluating talent. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening in Cleveland, because the numbers tell a story that the coaching staff is desperately trying to ignore. Shedeur Sanders isn't just performing well, he's operating on a completely different level than every other quarterback in that building, and it's creating cognitive dissonance that's tearing the organization apart. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. Sanders is completing 77% of his passes in practice, while the supposed more experienced quarterbacks are sitting at 58%. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between elite NFL starter accuracy and backup-level performance. But wait, it gets worse for the Browns' decision-makers. 9 touchdowns on just 53 attempts. Let that sink in for a moment. Sanders is finding the end zone on nearly 17% of his throws, while Dillon Gabriel, who's getting first-team reps, has 8 touchdowns on 83 attempts. That's less than 10%. We're talking about a rookie 5th-round pick who's nearly twice as efficient as the guy they're treating as their future. The coaching staff went from "let's see what he can do" to "oh no, what have we done" faster than you can say quarterback controversy. Sources inside the facility are whispering that Sanders picks up the playbook faster than any rookie they've ever seen. One assistant coach allegedly said he sees it on the board, walks through it once, and executes it in live reps like he's been running the play for 5 years. But here's what's really breaking the system. Sanders isn't just putting up numbers against scrubs. When he finally got those first-team reps, he was threading 20-yard dig routes with surgical precision while supposedly more experienced quarterbacks were struggling with basic checkdowns. The cognitive dissonance is real, and it's expensive as hell. Reality hit the Browns facility like a freight train carrying uncomfortable truths. They spent significant resources on Deshaun Watson, traded for Kenny Pickett, and drafted Gabriel, yet their best quarterback might be the afterthought pick from the 5th round. It's like building a mansion and finding out the tool shed is the most valuable structure on the property. The most damning evidence isn't even in the statistics, it's in the deafening silence. Notice how no one is questioning Sanders' arm talent, his decision-making, or his leadership capabilities. The only criticism floating around is about his draft position and expectations. When the worst thing people could say about your performance is that you weren't supposed to be this good, that's actually the highest compliment possible in professional sports. Cleveland's desperation is showing, and it's not a good look for anybody involved. They're so invested in their previous decisions that they're willing to ignore current evidence staring them in the face. The sunk cost fallacy is real, and it's costing the Browns credibility every single day they don't acknowledge what's happening in their own building. What's happening behind closed doors in Cleveland is even more explosive than the statistics suggest, and it's creating a seismic shift in team dynamics that the front office never saw coming. When Myles Garrett, a man who doesn't waste words on pleasantries, publicly states that Sanders shows up with a smile every day and makes people want to work with him, that's not just team chemistry. That's a complete transformation in locker room culture. Veterans don't just randomly start praising 5th-round picks unless something real is happening. We're talking about established NFL players who've seen countless rookies come and go suddenly rallying behind a guy who wasn't even supposed to make the roster. The original plan was to stash Sanders as quarterback 3 and let him develop quietly in the background. That plan lasted about as long as a snowball in July. Here's where the story gets really interesting. Teammates aren't blind to what's happening, and they're starting to choose sides based on performance, not pedigree. When veterans see a rookie commanding the huddle and making throws they've watched fail from more experienced arms, loyalties shift quickly. The NFL is a meritocracy when it matters most, and Sanders is proving he belongs in conversations he wasn't invited to have. Sources are whispering stories that would make your head spin. Behind the scenes, players are reportedly telling coaches that Sanders brings an energy and confidence that's infectious. One veteran allegedly said, "The kid doesn't just show up to practice, he shows up like he's auditioning for the Hall of Fame every single day." That's not normal rookie behavior. That's franchise quarterback mentality. But here's what's really breaking the traditional power structure. Sanders is handling the politics perfectly while everyone else is scrambling. He's not demanding anything, not complaining about reps, and not creating unnecessary drama. He's just showing up every single day and proving he belongs. When a rookie has more professionalism than half the veteran quarterbacks in the league, that says something profound about character and maturity. The locker room revolution is happening in real time, and it's forcing coaches to confront an uncomfortable truth. Their depth chart doesn't reflect their talent chart. Players are making their preferences known through subtle comments and body language. When your defensive stars are essentially campaigning for a rookie quarterback, that's not just team chemistry disruption, that's a complete shift in organizational power dynamics. What makes this even more incredible is that Sanders is earning respect the old-fashioned way, through performance and professionalism. He's not riding on his father's name or creating social media buzz. He's winning over hardened NFL veterans by being better at football than guys who were supposed to be better than him. The coaching staff is reportedly telling people that Sanders processes information faster than any rookie they've ever worked with. That's not just talent, that's football IQ meeting preparation in ways that can't be taught or faked. When your accidental 5th-round pick is earning more respect than your intentional investments, that's organizational malpractice disguised as player development. Kevin Stefanski finds himself in an impossible position that would make a chess grandmaster sweat bullets, and every decision he makes from here could determine not just the season but his entire coaching future. The pressure is mounting from every direction, and the Browns are running out of creative ways to justify their depth chart while their best quarterback sits behind inferior talent. Here's the brutal reality Stefanski is facing. If he starts Kenny Pickett or Dillon Gabriel and they struggle early, fans will be demanding Sanders by week 3. And Cleveland fans aren't exactly known for their patience. They've watched this franchise make questionable quarterback decisions for decades. But if he starts the rookie and Sanders hits inevitable growing pains, the front office might question his timing and decision-making abilities. Word around the building is that Stefanski's job security depends on these decisions, and the politics are getting messy. Starting Pickett signals he's coaching for his life, trying to justify previous organizational investments. While starting Sanders means management is giving him developmental runway and trusting his evaluation over traditional metrics. The cognitive dissonance is tearing the coaching staff apart. They're trying to handle Sanders like he truly is a guy they drafted in the 5th round, but his performance is forcing them to treat him like a first-round talent. It's like trying to put a Ferrari engine in a Honda Civic. The parts don't match the expectations, and everyone can see the disconnect. Training camp is where reputations get built and careers get buried, and Sanders is making damn sure everyone knows which category he belongs in. The kid isn't just participating, he's dominating every single rep. Every leaked clip shows the same thing: completions, command, and confidence that shouldn't exist in a 5th-round pick. It's almost like he didn't get the memo that he's supposed to be humble, patient, and wait his turn. But here's where Stefanski's dilemma becomes truly impossible. The longer this situation drags on, the more obvious it becomes that the emperor has no clothes, and everyone in the building can see it. The media is asking harder questions every day. Players are making their preferences known through body language and subtle comments. Fans are getting restless on social media. The most damning aspect of this entire situation is that Stefanski knows Sanders is his best option, but admitting it means acknowledging that the organization's entire quarterback evaluation process was fundamentally flawed. It means admitting they found their franchise quarterback by accident while spending millions on players who can't match his production. Momentum is a powerful force in the NFL, and right now it's all flowing in one direction. Once players start believing in someone, once fans start chanting for change, once the media starts asking why your best option isn't playing, the dam breaks quickly. The Browns are standing in rising water, and they're about to find out if they can swim or if they'll drown in their own organizational stubbornness. Stefanski's decision will define not just this season, but potentially the next decade of Browns football. The question isn't whether Sanders will eventually start, it's whether Cleveland will waste valuable time pretending their depth chart makes sense. Here's where things are about to get absolutely nuclear. And if you think the practice footage has been impressive, wait until you see what happens when Sanders gets meaningful reps against actual competition. The preseason is going to be the moment of truth that exposes everything broken about the Browns' quarterback evaluation process, and I'm predicting it's going to be a bloodbath. Watch what happens when Sanders steps onto that field with real game situations, real pressure, and real consequences. Every indication suggests he's going to make this quarterback room look like a joke, and the Browns are going to have to explain to their fan base why they wasted months playing politics instead of playing their best players. The kid is going to force their hand whether they like it or not. Here's what makes this situation so explosive. Sanders has been dominating in practice against NFL-caliber defenders who know the plays are coming. Imagine what happens when he's facing confused defensive backs who don't know his tendencies, don't have the benefit of knowing the play calls, and are dealing with the chaos of actual game situations. If he's completing 77% of his passes in practice, what's he going to do against preseason competition? The Browns have a history of making simple decisions complicated, and this situation is no different. They're about to learn that talent doesn't care about draft position, and performance doesn't respect organizational charts. Sanders is writing his own script, and the Browns are just trying to keep up with the plot twists he's creating every single day. But here's the really wild part. The preseason is going to create a media firestorm that the organization isn't prepared for. When Sanders inevitably outperforms the guys getting first-team reps, every sports talk show in America is going to be asking the same question. How did the Browns find their best quarterback in the 5th round while spending millions on inferior talent? The pressure from fans is going to be unbearable. Cleveland has suffered through decades of quarterback mediocrity, and when they see a rookie making throws that their expensive veterans can't make, the stadium is going to erupt. Social media is going to explode. Local media is going to demand answers. What's absolutely wild is how this situation exposes everything broken about traditional NFL thinking. The Browns are about to face a scenario they never planned for. Their backup plan might actually be their best plan. When your accidental 5th round pick is embarrassing your intentional investments, that's not just bad luck, that's organizational malpractice on full display. The most beautiful part of this entire situation is that Sanders doesn't seem fazed by any of it. He's handling the pressure like a veteran, performing like a star, and conducting himself like a professional. When the preseason games start and he gets his opportunity to shine on a bigger stage, it's going to be impossible for the Browns to justify keeping him on the bench. The explosion is coming, and it's going to reshape everything we thought we knew about how NFL teams evaluate and develop quarterback talent. Sanders is about to prove that sometimes the best players come from the most unexpected places. The reality is brutally simple. Shedeur Sanders has turned what should have been a quiet development year into a full-blown quarterback controversy that's making national headlines. He's not just exceeding expectations, he's obliterating them with every practice rep, every completion, every touchdown, and every day he's not starting is a day the Browns are choosing politics over performance. This whole situation is about to reach a breaking point, and when it does, the Browns are going to have to make a decision that could define their franchise for the next decade. They found themselves with a situation they never anticipated, and they're handling it about as well as you'd expect from an organization that's made confusion an art form. Cleveland is about to learn a harsh lesson about talent evaluation, organizational stubbornness, and the price of ignoring obvious evidence. Sanders is forcing their hand, and the preseason is going to be the moment of truth that exposes everything. What do you think happens next? Drop a comment below with your prediction for how this quarterback controversy plays out. And if you want to see more breakdowns of the most explosive NFL storylines, make sure you're subscribed because this Sanders situation is just getting started, and I'll be covering every twist and turn as it unfolds.